Radhesham. In previous lecture we have heard that Shauri Brahman, when he came to know that how this king and his wife Subradnya were absorbed in following the Ekadashi vow and worshipping the Lord Vishnu's deity, they were so attracted toward the devotional service of the Lord. And then he came to know that they were great sinners in their previous life. So Shauri, he became inquisitive. He became curious to know that who were they formerly, what was their position, what kind of sins they performed, and how they were saved from Yamraj. So Shauri Brahman, he asked the question to Queen Subradnya that he is very curious to know the story of their previous birth. So Queen Subradnya, she told to Brahman, although it's not supposed to be revealed, but still I'm going to tell you. And then she started telling her previous birth story. So Subradnya, she said that she was very expert in the science of love. She was a chief prostitute in her previous birth, and she committed very fearful sinful activities which are liable for severe punishment in hell. And the king was a Shudra whose name was Nityodaya in his previous birth. He was Shudra by caste, but unfortunately he gave up the practice of his own caste and he became cruel. He was kidnapping others' wives, snatching others' wealth. He also drank liquor and he killed his friends. He also caused abortions. He harmed the people. He was very proud, and this is how he was living a life. So once he was given up by all his relatives, and then this Nityodaya, he was longing for a special movement, a special enjoyment with his prostitutes. So he came to her house, and also this prostitute girl, she was attracted to this boy who was very handsome, and they fell in love with each other. And they used to enjoy a sexual union with each other. And then one day this boy said that he is very proficient in the science of sexual union, and he also has abandoned all his relatives, like he has given up by all his relatives. So he would like to stay with her in her house. And hearing these polite words, this girl, she allowed to stay in her house, and they were living together. So one day what happened, this girl, means a Subradnya in her previous birth, she was suffering by major disease, and she was suffering by high fever. Her body was burning with fever and it was harming her body. And because she was feeling dull by fever, she did not drink water, nor did she eat food due to this great fear. And also this boy Nityodaya, seeing her bad situation, even he did not eat food and water, he did not drink water on the same day. And fortunately that day was Ekadashi. So it was very critical situation, and they couldn't sleep whole night because she was suffering from fever and she did not eat anything, and whole night they were awake. And this boy, Nityodaya, he was chanting the names of the Lord, O Narayan, O Hari, O Krishna, O Keshava, please save us. And by this way he was kept awake during the whole night. So due to the efficacy of the Ekadashi fast, and because the boy was uttering the holy name of Lord, all of their sins were perished. All of the sins was destroyed, they perish. And when it was a morning time, the sun rose, and she was still oppressed by fever. And what happened? She died, she expired. And then this boy, he saw that this girl is dead and she is no longer. Suddenly he also resorted to a death with her, and both were died. Then both of them were bound with a strong noose by the servants of Yamraj. They saw a deathful person whose eyes was blazing like fire, and they were taken along a difficult, a painful path to the abode of Yamraj. And then when they were in Yamaloka, in the house of Yamraj, a Chitragupta, he considered from the beginning all of their good and evil activities by Yamraj order. So when Chitragupta saw all the record of their activities, he spoke to Yamraj. He said that, my dear Lord, even though these two are the great sinners, now they are freed from all kind of sins. Why? Because they have fasted on the day of Ekadashi unknowingly. Even they would have observed the Ekadashi vow unintentionally. Now they are free from all kind of sins, and now they are eligible to go to the highest place of Lord Vishnu. And when Yamraj, he was thus addressed by Chitragupta, suddenly he rose from his seat and he saluted them, two of them. And then Yamraj, he adorned with a fragrant sandal, divine incense and flowers, and with the golden ornaments. And then the Yamraj affectionately fed them, both of them, with the various kinds of fruits, sweet, nectarian food. And then he himself praised them with the divine poetry, and having put them into a divine chariot, they said to them that he also folded a hand, and they said, now you are going to go to the Lord Vishnu city. You are the greatest among the pious people, and now you are free from sin. Now you should go there and should live with Lord Vishnu. And when they both were thus addressed by Yamraj, with humble and modesty, this both girl and this boy, they bowed at the lotus feet of Yamraj, and they said that they would not go anywhere else. They will definitely go to the highest position of Lord Vishnu, but they have one desire. What desire do they have? They want to see the hell which is situated in the abode of Yamraj. So by Yama's order, they both were got into the beautiful chariot, and then they too saw the extensive hell, a deadly hell which is difficult to be seen. And then Brahmana, he asked the question that, oh, you chaste lady, please tell me in detail all the condition of the sinners which you saw there. Oh beautiful lady, tell me in detail by which path the meritorious, the pious one goes to the Yama's house after death? And by which path the sinners, those who commit sins, go after death? So how would a pious soul see Lord Yamraj and the path of the pious and the similarly of the sinners? So Supradnya, she said, so she started describing the path of, so she said, first I'm going to describe the path of pious men. So any person who is pious, meritorious, especially those who have performed the devotional service to Lord Vishnu by offering a bhoga, by offering a worship to Tulsi, by giving a donations to Vaishnavas, by doing a prasad distribution, by distributing the knowledge of Krishna Bhakti. So those who have performed such meritorious activities like following Ekadashi, Janmashtami and other Vaishnava traditional vows, those who have circumambulated the temple of the Lord, such people are meritorious. Those who have chanted the glories, those who have heard the katha, such people after death, what happens? Which path do they go? So when the person, such devotee who is meritorious, when he dies, for him there is a pleasure, for him there is a festival. The path of such pious people is built with the big stones and it is covered with the divine pieces of cloth. And the path is completely free from all troubles. At places there are wonderful songs which are sung by a Gandharva. At some places there are beautiful apsaras who are dancing, who have a beautiful bodies. They are dancing for the pleasure of such meritorious people. At some places there is a sound of the flute and charming musical instruments. And at some places there is a shower of flowers, and at some places there is a cold breeze which is blowing. At some places there are stalls where water is distributed to the travelers, and at some places there are houses for eating. And all those pious people after death, when they follow this path, they enjoy all these facilities. At some places there are beautiful lakes with full of blossomful lotuses, and at some places there are very shady trees like blossom Ashoka trees. So Supratnya, she was telling to Brahman how the pious man is endowed with happiness after death. And then after meeting with such happy death, he go along the path, which is sometimes they are mounted on the horses, sometimes they are decorated with the various ornaments, and sometimes covering their heads with white umbrella with the handles which is raised by the people, by the servants. Some are mounted on elephant, some are mounted on chariots, some having got into vehicles, they happily go to the Yamraj abode. Some men, they fan with breeze from the chauris which is placed in the hands of divine ladies. Certain pious men holding a divine weapons, they adorn with the garlands and sandal, and eating tambula, they go to the Yamraj abode. Some they live in the house built near water, and some they enjoy the rice boiled in milk which they eat and then go happily to the Yama's abode. Some drink water, some drink sugarcane juice, also some drinking buttermilk, they go to the Yama's abode. Some meritorious one, they eat curd, some eat various fruits, and some drink a spirituous liquor and they go to the Yama's abode. And seeing many such pious men securing Yama's love coming there, Lord Vishnu would himself appear there. He will come in the form of the four-handed, holding conch shell, lotus flower, and who is looking very beautiful. His complexion is beautifully dark, bluish. His eyes are like a full-blown lotuses. He holds a conch, disc, mace and the lotus. Then his vehicle is Garuda, is there. He has a beautiful sacred thread, golden thread. His face is very lovely, like of Cupid, Kamadev. He is wearing a crown. He has a beautiful earrings. He is adorned with a garland of wood flowers. And then very white Chitragupta, the servants of Yamraj, they will speak very sweetly, having the form of Vishnu. And then the Yamraj himself, having great affection, would worship all those excellent men who have performed the devotional service unto the Lord. And they will be honored with the divine giants, and they are fed with a lot of fruits by Yamraj. And then Yamraj will speak to them. He will say, "O you noble ones, many people are afraid of the torment in the hell, but you are the meritorious, so you will go to the highest position due to the efficacy of your activities of devotion service. The man being born in the world who act piously, especially who performs the devotional service of the Lord by remembering the Lord, by chanting the name, he is actually my father, my brother, he is my friend, and he is like my kinsman." And by thus addressed by Yamraj, they all will got into the divine chariot and they will go to the Vishnu city. Then Supradnya, she told the Brahman, "O best Brahman, I have told you in brief the situation of meritorious people, what happened after their deaths. And after listening to the fate of this, so now this Brahman want to know about the sinners, what happened to those sinners who after quitting the body, what kind of path they follow."